For this tutorial we have this setup. We have two CBI devices, one of which is connected to a battery, and then we have our display that we want to connect to our devices in order to monitor them. So the first thing we do is connect a MODbus cable to the MODbus connector, which is the one on the side, because the central one is for Ethernet, and then we place our device. Then we connect the cable to one of the devices, and we can now turn on the display. Now that we have the display connected to one of the devices, we can turn it on. The first thing we have to do is add new devices to the display, because the display is now not associated with any device. So we go to Menu, Devices, and here's the list of the devices associated. We can add new devices now. The display will perform a scan on the MODbus. The scan is finished and one device was found. Now this message tells us that the device has a MODbus address of 1, which is the default address that we use on new devices. So we are required to change this address in order to add future devices that will have address 1 also. To do so, we pick the device and then we select change address. We'll set an address of 2 for this device. Done. The address was changed. Now we can go back to our home screen to add a dashboard for the device that we just had. So we hit add. We select from the list of associated devices the device that we want to add, in our case device 2. And now we will see the dashboard for such device in the home screen. We can now proceed to connect a second device. We mark the one that we just connected with the sticker, so we remember the address, and we connect the second one. We can now associate the device like we did for the first one. So we do the scan. The device was found, and again it has address 1, so we proceed to change its address to number 3. We now have our network set up and we can use the device. So we go back to the home screen and we can add a dashboard for the new device. So we go to add device and we pick device 3 and we place it after the dashboard of device 2. Now we will have 2 dashboards, one for device 2 and one for device 3, and we can switch between them with the arrows. We can now change the home screen from dashboard to multi-value by going in display configuration and welcome page. You can choose between 6 values, 2 or 1 value. We'll pick 6 values. And if we go back to the home screen, we now see empty page because we don't have any value added. We proceed to add the value. We pick the device for which the value we want to show, and we decide a value to show, for instance the output load voltage. We keep adding values. For instance, we'll add the output load current, and then for the other device, so device 3, that is connected to a battery, we are interested in the battery voltage, for instance. And we can be interested also in the charging status of the battery. So we decide device 3, battery, and charging status. Now we have our home screen set up with 4 values that we are interested in. If we look carefully, there's an icon on the top left of the screen that tells us that there is an alarm. To see what alarm do we have, we can go to the alarms menu. Now it shows device 2, battery disconnected. As we can see from our setup, we have 2 DC UPS. One is marked with the 2 and one is marked with the 3. And the 2 is effectively disconnected from the battery. Other things we can do is see in real time the parameters. We'll go to monitoring, we choose a device, and then we pick an area like battery, and we can see all the parameters of the battery in real time. Other menus we have are the history menu, where we can see the history of a device. For instance, device 3, which is the one connected to the battery, has been disconnected from the mains 2 times. Now with the right button we can clear the history, and we can see now that the number of mains backup transitions is 0. If we want to change a parameter on a specific device, we can do so by going to the devices menu, selecting the specific device, for instance device 2, and then going to advanced configuration. You can now enter the pin, which by default is 1234, in order to be able to change any parameter among these areas. We'll pick battery and maximum charge current and change it from 10 ampere to 9.5 for instance, 9.6. In order to save custom configurations on a device, the first 4 jumpers must be placed like so